Hi class! This video is here to show you how to evaluate your sources for credibility. In other words, while you are doing your research, you need to decide if you can trust the information in the articles and websites that you find. So let's get started. The two main questions we have to ask ourselves when looking at sources are who wrote this and why did they write it? Within these questions, there are smaller questions we need to think about while looking at our sources. So first, let's look at the author. We need to find out who wrote this article. Then we need to ask ourselves, are these people experts? Can we research them? Has this person written more about this topic? So I decided that these authors are Dean Kilpatrick, Benjamin Saunders, and Daniel Smith. Now I did the research for you, and I decided that Dean Kilpatrick, he's a doctor. Benjamin Saunders is also a doctor. Now Daniel Smith was a little bit harder to research because of his generic name. But we're going to assume that because the other two authors are credible, that this source is credible. Next, we have to ask ourselves, who is the publisher? I found the publisher of this article in two places on the first page. The National Child Traumatic Stress Network. So now we need to think about this company and if they have any sponsors or outside affiliations, who else might be linked on their page, and if they take responsibility for the content that they posted. To find out this information, I went to their website and found the About Us page. I found that they were established by Congress as a public service, so I deemed this company credible. Now we need to look and find out if there is an author bias. This means, does the author's opinions get in the way of the information that they are presenting? When analyzing our sources, we can ask ourselves, is the language free of emotion? What is the purpose of the site or article? To inform or spread an agenda? And why did the author write this article? So take a moment to skim the next two passages from the article and think about these questions we just asked ourselves. So what do you think? These two passages mostly consisted of terms and statistics, which means this article is informational and free of opinions from the authors, deeming there is no author bias. Now we should look at citations that were used in the article. When you're analyzing an article for credibility, pay attention to whether the author cites any sources throughout the article, and always look for a bibliography or reference page at the end of an article. For this article, here are the first 5 sources that were used when writing the article. This article had a list of over 20 sources, which showed that the authors did a lot of research when they were doing the writing of this article. And the last thing you should look at is the accuracy or currency of our sources. You should always look at the date of when your article was posted or when the website was updated. You want to make sure you are using the most recent information available to you. Looks to me that this article was published in 2008, which was 8 years ago. So we better find out if this data is verifiable and accurate. You can do this by doing multiple searches and comparing your different sources. So I decided to compare some of the statistics in this article to the statistics in another source that I found. And I can see that these two sources present different information, and since both of these statistics are from trusted sources, I need to use the one that was published more recently. So, is this article credible? Let's see. The author, we decided 2 out of the 3 authors we found out were doctors. So yes, they can be trusted. The publisher, we did our research and decided that the publisher can also be trusted. Author bias? This was an informational article with no opinions from the authors. Credible. Citations? There were plenty of citations to support the article. Credible. Now, accuracy and currency? This is the only place we may have had an issue. This article was a little outdated, But overall, this source would be a credible source to use for general information, but for statistics and facts that change over time, you should be looking for the most recent information. Thanks for watching. Now you're ready to go find your own credible sources.